Welcome to Join the City True Stories Edition. I'm Troy Ferguson, and you're about to see what God is doing in our city through our moms. Coming up.
You don't have to be a perfect parent.
You need to constantly pray for the kids.
Enjoy them.
Ask God to watch over them. You just do the best you can, and God does the rest.
All that and more coming up now on Join the City True Stories.
God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today.
We're going to start the show today by talking to some young kids about why they love their mom.
She cleans the house and she makes dinner sometimes. She takes me to stores.
My mom is always proud of me, and she supports me in every way possible.
My mom's always there in the toughest moments to make me feel good about myself. She says, don't let it down, just try again.
She's beautiful and she's nice to me. She hugs me all the time.
I love my mom because she's sweet.
I love my mom because she cares about a lot of people.
I love my gran because she's always there for me and she always supports me for everything I do.
I love my mom because she lets me pick flowers from her garden and she gets me nice clothes and she says she loves me every day.
The thing I like about my mom is she isn't talented, and when I'm down, she helps me.
I love my mom because she's very sweet and kind.
I appreciate how she's always coming to my baseball games, supporting me and always celebrating with me and stuff, and always just watching TV with me, and I just really appreciate when I'm around her.
She wakes me up in the morning and gets me ready for school. She picks me up from the bus stop. My mom encouraged me to get baptized. That she cleans our house and stuff, and makes my bed, and takes care of me and my sister.
Even though we get older, we all still love our moms, and she has a very special part in our life. We asked several adults today why they appreciate their mom.
I appreciate everything about my mother, but if I have to be specific, I'm going to say how hardworking she is and how she would do anything for anybody and puts everybody else before herself, and she's just very selfless.
I want you to know how much I love you and how much I care about you, and just that words can't describe how appreciative and grateful I am that you're my mom and that God picked you specifically to be my mom, because I don't think anyone else could actually deal with me. And also, Troy said this doubles as a Mother's Day card and that you're supposed to see him at the end of service for the money portion of it. But love you. Bye-bye.
Hey Mom, I just want to tell you how much I love you and how much I appreciate everything that you do for me and our family, and I am so happy that you're not only my mom, but my homegrown friend that I get to do life with. Happy Mother's Day.
I love the fact that my mom is a giver, just from her heart all the time. Doesn't matter who it is or where she is, you can always find her behind the scenes somewhere. And I think that's the other thing I love about her, that she's low profile. She never seeks the spotlight and she never tries to be in the front of things. She's always just, what can I do? Where can I help? Like, just show me what you want me to do. I think that's one of the things that I've learned to appreciate the most about her.
I appreciate my mom because no matter what, even if I don't always make the best decisions, she is always there for me, for a shoulder to cry on or to help me out in any way that she can.
Hello, for everyone who doesn't know, my name is Matt and I'm a TSS. I work in the local school districts, and actually my car broke down recently, so even at the ripe old age of 25, my mom still picks me up from school.
I want to thank you so much for the prayers that you have prayed for me over the years, because I know when I went away from the Lord that your prayers brought me back. I thank you for teaching me about the Holy Spirit from a young age and how to lead with grace. You have been such an amazing example of a Christian wife and mother, and I strive to be like you every day. So thank you for making me who I am.
When I think of appreciating my mom, there are a few words that come to my mind: love, beauty, dedication, and selflessness. Her love for Jesus has overflowed to our family. Her love for my two sisters and I is overflowing. Her beauty is radiant. Her dedication to her businesses, her family, her children, her friends, and loved ones is admirable, and she is always putting others before herself. She has spent her life running my sisters and I from sports to cheerleading, from life events to hospitals, from vet shopping to vacations. She is always doing for others. She babysits my 2 children while my husband and I work full-time jobs. She helps with our cooking and doing our laundry. Mom, I can't thank you enough for the example that you have set for me as a mom, for your love, and most importantly, as a woman of God. I love you.
I appreciate my mom because she has always encouraged me. She's been my #1 fan and is always looking for the next opportunity to brag about me, and to convey how proud she is of my achievements. Even though, I don't know what they are, but she's looking for the opportunity to brag on me in some way. Could never pay back all of the encouragement and support my mom has given me. So thanks, Mom.
We'd like to take a few moments just to say we love you. We thank you for everything that you do for us. It was a blessing having you as my mom, but also it's been a true blessing having you as a grandma to our kids as well. So we want to say thank you, we love you, and have a wonderful Mother's Day.
One thing I really appreciate about my mom is the amount of time she spends in the Word. As a child, we always knew that reading the Word and learning about what God had to say was very important to her. And she spent a lot of time studying His Word, and that was just a great example to me.
She's always been there, like if you need help with sewing or chores or stuff. If you need her to pray for you, she's right there. She is a very big inspiration to me. I love her dearly. She's always been there for me. No matter scrape an elbow or get hurt or something, she's right there. I couldn't ask for a better mom. She's really super.
I mean, the fact that my dad left when I was 10, 6 kids in the family. I had a younger sister, 2 younger brothers, and 2 older brothers. And my mom was 35, 36 years old, somewhere in that range. And, to have to raise us all by herself and didn't have the income to do that. And my dad never paid any child support, so it was rough. And we ended up being on welfare. And later on in life, my mom was able to go back to school and get into nursing and became an LPN and totally got off of that program. And just, she was always there for us. I think about how did she do it? How did she raise 6 kids and always have meals on the table, always had nice Christmas time? I think it's pretty amazing. When you look back in today, I mean, it's mostly husbands and wives both working. Some are working 2 jobs just to try to make ends meet with 1, 2, or 3 kids. Here it was, she was, alone with 6. And, I don't recall ever hearing my mother raise her voice. And if you were talking to me, this wouldn't be easy. 8 years since she left. And you could ask any one of the kids. We think about her every day. Every day. Okay? I mean, I know she's in heaven. So she, as much as she would miss us, she wouldn't want to come back. But we'll just have to wait till the day we get to see her again there. As bad as it was the type of dad we had, she was way beyond taking over both parents, okay? And you could ask any one of my siblings, they'd all tell you the same thing. I mean, we were super blessed to have her as a mom.
My mom is so wonderful. She's very understanding. She's very open, and she always gives me great advice, mostly to be patient and to pray. Always to pray and trust God, and with prayer, anything can be turned around.
She was a stay-at-home mother. Her father died when she was 7 years old,
and her mother had to go to work, and so at a very young age she learned how to keep the house clean. She watched over her older sister and her younger brother because she's the more responsible. Did everything by hand, of course, and she used to cook. When she cooked, she used restaurant cookware. And but she would bake, and I observed a lot, so, and I actually took that with me. My mom was involved in a church, and she actually became a deacon in the church, so she's still involved in the church.
Well, my mom turns 80 this week, and I appreciate her more and more over time. The biggest thing that stands out to me is her consistency, that she always chooses peace. She's been steadfast and never moved throughout all the things we face in our lives. My mom is really young in her mind, and I appreciate that because she's always relevant. No matter what stage of life I've been in, she's always accepted me, and there was no judgment, and she would never forsake me, stick with me through anything that I was facing or going through or putting myself in over the years, and I could always just count on her to be steadfast.
Our final segment is the most important and most beneficial to young moms today. This is where some of our seasoned moms share their wisdom, some stories, and even a few mistakes to encourage younger moms today.
As a mom, I have found that my most significant and impactful post is my post as mom. And keeping the post, standing on the boundary, inserting myself into my kids' lives, whether it's walking in on a conversation, whether it's checking their messages, opening the door, just making myself known that I'm on the post. They know I'm on the boundary line, and they want me there, even though they might not realize it. They appreciate it, I think, and it's the greatest joy, so enjoy it.
To always pray for their children and to teach them early in the morning when they get ready to go out to school or whatever, to put them in the hands of the Lord, ask God to watch over them, and help them to have a good day, and help them to learn to trust the Lord. Take time. Time is very important. Even 5 minutes of quality time with a mother, to just even to pray a little.
The thing that I had the most was probably just love, Troy. You just have to love them through the highs and the lows and the ins and the outs. When it looks like they're never going to come around, you just love them.
I think being a mom is like the best thing that ever happened to me. I always had this fear of becoming a mom, that I couldn't do it. But when I held that little boy in my hands, and even before, when God would speak to me about this blessing, that when I held him in my hands and I said, I can't do this. I can't do it without God's help. No matter what's going on around us or what we are born into, that when God is there, you've got it. You don't have to be a perfect parent, because we're not going to be. You have to be good enough, just good enough. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you're at times really going to screw up. It doesn't mean that you're going to wonder somewhere in the course of this, what was I thinking? It's that God's got it.
I, like Bonnie, we didn't have children for 5 years. We tried very desperately to have kids. I hate to say this, but there was a year that I couldn't even go to church on Mother's Day because I felt that God had abandoned me. And then we did. We got pregnant with Jason, and I can remember I was getting ready to deliver, and I said to David, do you realize that from now on we're not just Dave and Bobby, we are somebody's parents? And I said, why don't we go home for a couple of days and think about this before we decide whether we're going to be parents or not? And he came like 26 minutes later, and it was something that somebody told me once, that really impacted me, and it's let go and let God. And sometimes that's hard. And that's what it is. It's just love, and love them unconditionally. Don't love them if they're good that day. Don't love them if they've cleaned up their room. Just love them because they're God's creatures that he gave to us and gave us the responsibility of raising. And
I think that the biggest thing that I remember from them being little is just to have fun. Just to, I would say to my daughters, this is terrible, I would say to my daughters, I only have one son, but I've got two of you. So I've got a spare. And I'm not really concerned about which one is the spare. As long as I end up with one of each, I'm okay. So they would kind of, no, they wouldn't. I was going to say they would toe the line. But I just remember in our house the fun and the music. There was always, always, always music.
having fun was very important in our life too. We didn't always have a lot of money, but we found ways of, our boys didn't know it. They didn't know that we were dirt poor because we didn't let them know. We let them think that it was a great adventure to go to a yard sale and be able to buy a car for 25 cents or 50 cents. And I think that that was important. We put values. In fact, I remember one time Jamie came home from school and she said, "Mommy, are we rich?" And it's like, I said, "We certainly are." I said, "We have God in our life. You have a loving mother and father. You have loving grandparents. You love each other most times, and that's what real wealth is. It has nothing to do with how much money you have in the bank, or to me, what's important is memories." I can remember when I just had Jason and Derek, and people would come up and say to me, "I don't know what you've done as parents, but your boys are awesome." And I would hear this, and it starts getting to you, and you think, I am pretty awesome, aren't I? And then God said, "Thou shalt be humbled." And he sent us Jamie, who is a true treasure. It's a story that we tell her a lot, but we feel truly blessed to have our kids. The two most important words is unconditional love.
That you need to be consistent, especially on your discipline. If you tell them something's going to happen, there's a consequence, there needs to be the consequence.
If it's a discipline that's important, that matters, then it has to be consistent every day. But I think when you incorporate love into that, it becomes much easier.
Especially for your children, you need to love them unconditionally. They're not always going to be perfect, but you're not perfect. And they just need lots of love. I mean, some of those silly things that people tell you, oh, don't ever do this, don't ever do that. What works for you is what you need to do.
Enjoy them. I think sometimes we're so busy trying to get it right that we forget to take the time out to play with them, recognize them as individuals. Let the house get dirty. I didn't do that. And I think for me, the thing that always kept running through my mind was train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he gets older, he won't depart. They may stray, but I don't believe they forget the teachings that we've worked hard to give them.
Step back and look at the big picture. Pick your battles. Realize that this too shall pass, that there are times and seasons in our lives and in children's lives. Realize what is important. Realize the most important thing is the relationship you build with your children, the love and respect that goes both ways. You have to let your mistakes go. You have to you can't live in the what ifs. Each day is a new day, each day is a new opportunity, and you just go from there.
I remember scolding Wendy over and over and over again. And she said, "But Mommy, I keep trying to do it right." I said, "Well, evidently you don't love me because you're not doing it right." And I was having my devotions a few days later, and I said, "God, why do I keep doing that wrong over and over again? Is it because you don't love me?" And I thought back what I said to Wendy, and I said, "No, God, that's not it."
And there's times that I've asked my kids to forgive me for decisions I made, or maybe that I may have done some bad parenting. And I found that they do love us despite our inadequacies.
There was a lot of things that I wasn't going to do when I became a mom. For example, letting the child sleep in our bed, or give them a pacifier, and all those things change. Because when you find out you need sleep, and things change. But it's all good.
I probably wouldn't have been so hard on her. You have to realize, being a teacher, having the teacher profession, I went from teaching 100 children down to one little child. And of course, she was a year old when we adopted her. So I took all that energy and all that, whatever you want to call it, and I zeroed in on this poor little kid. And I would have been a little, perhaps, softer.
My kids wanted to play basketball when they were in junior high. And we looked at the schedule, and it was going to interfere with 2 Wednesday night services because they were going to have games. And I didn't let them play. And I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I felt in my heart that I should have let them play.
After saying how much fun we would have at our house, sometimes I think I took what they did in public too seriously. You know, that I would come down on them for something that they did when they were just being kids. And in looking at my grandchildren who would do the same thing, I'm standing back going, "Oh, look at them, isn't that funny?" And with my kids, it was, "You wait until we get to the car." You know, it's not that big of a deal. It's not in the scope of things when you're looking back on it. Sometimes the things that you made the biggest mistakes about were the ones that you look at and you laugh about later. That, oh my gosh, they did this in church. and you look back on it and you say, well, that was pretty funny, you know, what they did. I really should have been I should have lightened up a little. You know, I really should have. You want to put stripes with plaids with polka dots, fine, here's a hat. Put the hat on to go with it, instead of worrying so much about what someone else was going to say.
And I remember hearing somebody say, "I wish my clean kitchen floor had not been as important as playing with the kids or going to the pool." And like I said, sometimes people can speak over you and teach you, but I think sometimes you learn from observing and hearing what others do and what others say.
Don't major on minors. And we tend to do that. We tend to major on things that really are not important in the large scope of things. Relax. I didn't relax. I'd be the first to tell you, I wasn't a relaxed parent. I had to have the house clean, kids had to be clean, the windows had to be cleaned. Forget that. Well, I always say, do the best you can, because none of us is going to get a second chance to make this right. And there's where God comes in. You've got to do your best, let the rest up to Him. And if you know in your heart you're doing your best, no matter what your kids do, no matter what choices they make, as adults, you're not responsible.
You just do the best you can, and God does the rest.
So I don't live in guilt, but I just, relax, parents. Do the best you can and just enjoy your kids. Enjoy their mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. Enjoy them. Laugh at them.
So often we're so busy that we forget the most important thing is prayer. Before your feet hit the floor, you thank God for that child. You pray protection around that child. You pray godly people people of godly influence into their lives.
Most of all, listen to your mother. She knows best. If I would have listened to her a long time ago, things would be different today, but it's all been a learning experience. I know it's hard today. There is a lot of struggles, and a lot of young people deal with a lot of different things, but if you just put God first in your life and just trust in Him, He will turn it around. It may take time. Some things that we do don't get undone overnight, so you just got to work through the issues, a lot of it, and just keep on the right track. Being a mother has been the most rewarding job, and it's the hardest job that you could ever have. Being a parent, being a grandparent, because the best thing that you want to do is be an example of Jesus. And you show your child, like, if you do this and you stay on the right track, there's blessings. If you retreat from the Lord and you don't listen and you make a wrong choice, you're going to have the benefit, or you're going to have the repercussions of it. So the reaping and sowing of the blessings, that if you do the right thing, the reward is great. The reward is much greater by doing the right thing. And oh my goodness, there is just so much more that God has out there for you if you just do the right thing.
As hard as we thought it was then, I think it's much harder now. But God will prove faithful.
You know, when you get as far as I am now and look back, you think, my goodness, our God is faithful. He is faithful.
True stories are the foundation of why we do this program. If you know a person or an organization having an impact in our community, we want to hear about it. Please email us at stories@jointhecity.org. Also, your story has the opportunity to build faith and encourage those watching too. If you would be willing to share your story with us, simply email me at mystory@jointhecity.org, and our team will follow up with you soon. That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Join the City True Stories. I want to encourage you to join us every weekday at 9:30 a.m. right here on Fox 8. We'll start the week off with a recent challenging message from Pleasant Valley Assembly on Monday and Tuesday morning. Then on Wednesday and Thursday morning at the same time, we'll dig into the archives of other messages, testimonies, and ministry programs. Finally, we'll conclude the week with another inspirational story just as you saw today. So be sure to tune in every weekday at 9:30 a.m. for Join the City. Be encouraged because God is moving in our city.
God is on the move.